John Razimus here. Thank you for watching. More Hoax Hunter, occult book review, pyramidal episodes coming soon. Some of those videos take a long time to edit. We're talking 20 hours to edit or 10 hours to edit. And with Hoax Hunter, it takes a long time to research and investigate something. I can give some overviews on some very simplistic hoaxes very quickly, but thoroughly investigating something is more my style down that realm. But I might go into the realm of these guys that look at something and just pretty much verbatim read an article, but that's not my style. I might just give my first impression on a hoax or a potential hoax. And as far as the paranormal, the supernatural, I'm going to continue to make videos giving my opinion on those subjects. But this video is about medieval, Dark Ages, Renaissance inspired woodcut art that I've been working on for many years. I'm not an expert, but I like the style of these artists. They're very 2D, very stylized. You don't see anything like it today, except copied, and usually copied very badly. I like to copy this style and make it my own, but it's such an amazing style in my opinion that it's what I like to focus on. And my book, Corners of Rooms, will contain at least 8 woodcuts or woodcut-inspired drawings. Obviously, I'm not going to chop and carve a piece of wood. That would take a lot of time. They did that for printing press reasons. We are beyond that technology. I suppose you could reverse it and get a 3D printout and use it as a woodcut. But, of course, it's a lot simpler to draw something now. As far as drawing, this is how I do it. I have a piece of paper, a pencil, and a pen. That's it. It's very rare these days for artists to even use physical pens and physical pencils and physical paper, but that's my style. It gives the drawing life. It looks a million times different than any of the computer artists. I can spot a computer piece of art next to a hand-drawn piece of art from a mile away, and some computer artists are geniuses, but I prefer the physical. So I'm going to be drawing a woodcut right now. This is not a regular video. I won't be doing this every weekend, but I just want to give you an example of the type of art I hope to add into my book, Corners of Rooms, in the future. If it's no good, I'm going to cut it, and that happens a lot. And my process is very time-consuming, so I'm probably not going to finish it, but you'll see a rough draft of the type of woodcut hopefully I'm looking for in my book. So I start by simply drawing a square, and I have an idea of the little goblin-type imp, familiar spirit demon that I want to draw. Now, optically, I've never seen one of these, but it jumped on me one time in the middle of a 6-month poltergeist haunting. This creature had the ability to move objects in my room for 6 months. I couldn't see it, but when it jumped on me, I had an idea of how small it was. I would say about 3 feet tall, maybe 3.5 feet tall, somewhere around there. But then again, it's just a spiritual entity. It can probably shapeshift. So my process of creating this, it started with pencil, and then I put pen, and then I erased the pencil, and then I made a scan of it. And I made many scans, and I go back and forth until it looks just right. And I retrace the lines, I add detail, and it turned out pretty good. I didn't like the eyes, so I changed the face and the eyes a little bit. Now it looks more like a monkey. And I have described it in the past as having a monkey-like personality, but I do like how it turned out. It has tiny horns to represent that it's not a high-ranking demon, but it's a low-ranking familiar demon. And it's in the corner of a room. I'm writing a book about it called Corners of Rooms. And you're going to hear more details about my story as my book unfolds. I'm going to be sharing chapters, but the book will have at least 8 woodcuts. This is one of the 8. Now, it's inspired by woodcuts. Obviously, I didn't cut on any wood, but inspired by woodcuts, inspired by Renaissance, medieval, Dark Ages style. The face is pretty medieval looking, but the body, I have to admit, looks kind of modern, but I tried to shade it with that ancient shading style, and I'm going to continue to add more detail. I'm going to add bricks behind him, but it turned out overall pretty good. I believe I am going to keep it and add it to the book. So here is a woodcut that you might recognize. This is the pyramidicalbooks.com logo that I made for my publishing company. Every one of my books will be attributed to my book company, Pyramidal Books. It may be Pyramidal Press in the future, but Pyramidal Books sounds pretty good now. I hand drew each individual scale, and what I did, here is the original drawing, 100% pencil and ink. So what I do is I first draw in pencil, and then I trace it in ink. And then I noticed, you know what? I noticed these are a little flat. They need to be more bulging out. So I have another example somewhere where I printed it out after editing it out in a paint program. And then this is a printout / actual hand-drawn scales, and I hand drew the whole thing from scratch in different segments, because if you mess up, it's a lot easier to scan this, put it in a paint program. And I drew this on March 12th, 2015. Let's see, I have some serpents, got some random pyramid triangle things going on. I have this 2009 serpent drawing, which looks a little like that one. It's inspired by a video game, actually, Ultima 7 Part 2 Serpent Isle. In that game, there's a magical gate, and it's called the Serpent Gate. You walk on it, and you say a magic spell, and you transport it. And here is a woodcut that I drew. You might recognize it. I've used it in my Attributes of Demons videos. This is, like I said, a compiled of different things. I put a magic square on there that I made up from scratch. Don't use that. I was just messing around. You know, I'm just trying to get a feel for the type of woodcuts I'm going for. And I didn't like this. This is a rejected version. I don't like this circle. I don't like the background. It's too busy. But I do like the little demon guy I made. He's definitely inspired by medieval style demons. You see that style all over the place. And I draw it in segments. So here is an originally drawn demon, and I would piece him together using the paint program. And here he is. So I would draw him like this, and then I would print it, and then I would draw his hair and his details, because if I make a mistake, it's a lot easier to go back if it's just a print out. And here is the wizard with pretty much no detail. And here's the wizard with a little bit of detail, but I didn't like it, so I kept changing it. Here is a little guy that is on the cover of my mixtape album, if you will, Time Portation. So I do make my own music. And here is, I'm not going to take credit for this. I did trace this. I pretty much virtually traced an actual woodcut, but I really like that style. So this is a woodcut I traced, an actual, probably Renaissance style woodcut. And they really drew in 2D. They weren't very good at 3D, although this is a more sophisticated one. And then you might recognize this. I recently drew this from scratch. Not a big deal. I was just going for some fractal looking thing. I called it Fractal Realm, and I drew that not too long ago, January 16th. And you might recognize that as the artwork on my channel. So my channel, my videos, I don't just randomly grab Google artwork. I thoroughly from scratch really highly take a lot of effort and time. This guy right here, he's inspired by, I believe, some type of bishop type figure, but the bishop is dressed so much like a wizard that I turned him into one. Now I may have used like his eyes. I used the guy's eyes, but I changed everything. I changed his positions. I just like their simplistic eyes that they have, and I replicated that with the eyes of the demon. And so that's just an overview. I do have an original of this somewhere. So I have a lot of copies because I make copies, and sometimes I lose the originals. So that's the woodcut. I didn't see it yet because I'm recording this early. Hopefully it turned out really well. If it didn't, I mean, practice makes perfect. I spent on the wizard and demon woodcut, I probably spent a month or 2 months off and on here and there, 1 hour there, 1 hour there, working on it. The process I use of printing it, detailing it, printing it, detailing it, printing it, detailing it, takes a long time, but it's a lot more organic, if you will, than computer pixels. Pixels you can see. You can run it through a program like Inkscape to really smooth those pixels out. But I prefer the process of smoothing it out with actual pen, with actual ink, and hopefully it turned out well. I thank you for watching. More episodes of every variety coming soon. Please post your opinions concerning what type of videos on this channel you like. Hoax Hunter, Occult Unmasked, Pyramidical, Occult Esoteric Antiquarian Book Review, and for my 2 pledgers who pledged on Patreon, I am very happy. Thank you very much. Please get back to me on what type of videos you would like to see. For people that pledged on my Patreon, I would like to even possibly make custom videos. I don't take requests necessarily. I do get spam occasionally, believe it or not. I actually get spam of people saying, make this, do one on that. And I'm like, if I like the subject and if I'm interested in it, sure. But if it's a promotion for your product and I'm not really too into your product, I'm not just going to make a free commercial. But as far as Patreon people, I know that they're not asking for free commercials. If you come across something interesting, something you think is worthwhile, please send me your ideas. I'm on Twitter, twitter.com/Razimus. I'm on Patreon, patreon.com/Razimus. I thank you for all the support. This has been John Razimus with the John Razimus Channel. Be seeing you.